Okay. Okay, we'll start with the Mangala Charana. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjalashalaakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vande Aham Shri Guruhu Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagara Jatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Sajivam Sadavaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radha Vrinde Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhobhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay. So today we are on the 14th chapter. And in this chapter, we will read all about or study all about the gunas, the 3 gunas that we have been talking about all along in all the previous chapters. So we're going to look at these gunas, and this chapter therefore is called the Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga, the different types of gunas and the association with these gunas by the living entities leads to the various activities that the living entities engage in. And these activities in turn, decide upon the karma that the living entity, gathers upon itself. And this then becomes the basis, along with the karma, the past karma, becomes the basis for the transmigration of the soul into a different body. Okay, so this cycle, as all of you know, is a repetitive cycle. So it all depends on how well we are able to exhaust all our vasanas and also prevent from, gathering more of the karma by way of our interaction with the gunas in the material nature. And the only way we can avoid, not only exhaust the past karma and eradicate it completely, which is what Lord Krishna said in chapter 12, and in chapter 13 he also kind of gave us a pretty exhaustive list of the qualities that will help us to kind of imbibe knowledge. There were 20 qualities that he narrated to us from 13.8 to 13.11. And if one is able to inculcate those qualities and has the ability to kind of overcome all the past vasanas and also prevent from all the material contaminations, then the possibility of us to kind of reduce the cycles of birth or even completely eradicate or extinguish or exhaust all those vasanas are very high. And that is what the Lord is looking from us. And we can overcome all of that, he says, through devotional service. And we have read a lot about devotional service. The only way devotional service can come is by that unflinching faith or Shraddha. And we also need to have the determination in ourselves to make sure that we are not letting our mind overcome our ability to make the right form of judgments. So therefore, the mind has to completely control the sense organs, which are constantly looking for all kinds of bodily sense gratifications. So therefore, the mind has to control the senses, because the senses are lower to the mind. And higher above the mind is the intellect. And when the intellect, is able to take over the purpose of all the works that the living entity engages in, then the ability to kind of keep the soul happy within the 9 gates is very, very high. Please understand, the soul does not decide. It is a living entity with these 23 elements. In chapter 13 we also read the 23 elements that constitute the kshetra, the field, and the body, and the field has all the inferior elements in it. So it is the body that interacts with the unmanifested gunas that are there in the prakriti, and thereby it kind of engages in activities that are dharmic, or it can be activities that are not dharmic. Okay, when you do dharmic activities, it is within the dharma, and when you do the activities that are not within that becomes vikarma. So therefore, we have to be constantly very careful in making those choices, because at the end of the day, the higher choices is what helps us to build our character. Any choice that we make which is not going to be in the realm of of helping us to make those higher level of choices, or we choose choices that are going to be pulling us downwards, to lower tastes or lower forms of energy, and those kind of things will only kind of make us weaker. And the more weaker we get, we are going to lose control of ourselves, which means we are adding on to our karma, which gets added on as a bad karma. And the bad karma in turn will come to harass us, or will also kind of decide the kind of birth that we'll have. So our main aim should be to progress in life and not regress. So upgradation is what we must look for. Just as in the material world, we always look for upgrades and for better forms of livelihood. Similarly, for the soul, what we need to do is to enable the soul to kind of get back to the abode of the eternal Lord. We must help it to kind of make sure that it carries less and less baggage. So we have to upgrade our taste and not degrade our taste. Okay, so this is what we studied in chapter 30. Does anyone have any questions? Hare Krishna. Any questions on the last chapter that we completed? No questions? Okay, you're very nice people. Nobody has questions. Can we have a quick revision? Yes, Aniruddha just gave a very quick revision of yesterday's class. And if possible, I'll go back to some of the qualities that I just discussed with you, 20 qualities that are required for us to kind of have as jnana. That helps us, those 20 qualities help us to acquire knowledge. So I will be revising that. Okay. Hare Krishna. So are my slides visible?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, great. So Kunatre Vibhaga Yoga. So the Blessed Lord said, again I shall declare to you the supreme wisdom, the best of all knowledge, knowing which all the sages have attained supreme perfection. Please understand, these gunas do not only exist in the earth planet, these kind of gunas also exist in the higher planets as well. So therefore the Lord ascertains here that very many learned people have benefited by understanding this knowledge and also overcoming any kind of hindrances that are possible by way of adapting some of these gunas, and also to give up some of the ills of these gunas and rise above these gunas. So in this chapter, there are 3 things that we're going to look at. We are going to look at, let me just give you a quick snapshot of what we will cover in this chapter. So in this chapter, the Lord is going to talk about from verses 1 to 13, he's going to talk about how the soul is getting conditioned by the material modes, which is the 3 guna, the sattva guna, which is the mode of goodness, the mode of passion, is the Rajasic guna, and the mode of ignorance is the Tamasic guna. Then he's also going to talk about in about 4 verses the effects of these gunas. What do these effects? What do these gunas lead us to? And then finally, he's going to talk about how can one become completely transcendental to these gunas, or how can someone, become cross over these gunas so that you can become as pure as the origin of from where our souls have come about. Okay, the origin of our souls go back to the eternal Lord. So he's going to talk about that. How can we kind of cross over these gunas so that we can become as pure and as nirguna as the Lord himself. Okay, because that's what the Lord says is possible. So whenever you come from a certain source, it's possible for us to get back or get the same qualities of that source. For instance, if for those, or for those people, who are born in a certain family, if the family has certain good habits and believes, has certain beliefs. I mean, this is generally speaking. There could be exceptions, there could be outliers. So the general principle is that if there is a good level of upbringing that goes into by way of values and manners, it is most likely that the people coming from such kind of families will continue with those values. Okay, there will not be any kind of a degradation that is likely to happen. It's unlikely, unless and of course there is some drastic change that happens, and somebody or a few people decide to kind of break away from that. That is possible, but that is very rare. Even if it happens, their offsprings invariably will take up some of the qualities that the original family had. So similarly, the Lord, we are part and parcel of that Supreme Lord, and therefore we can strive to become as pure as that eternal Lord by giving up or kind of being mindful of those things that are constantly tainting us or constantly contaminating us. Okay, so it is up to us to make up our mind and see how we can avert these kind of accidents and move forward. When I say accident of taking up things which are not as great, and we will look at how these three gunas kind of play. So he says, sages, great learned people have benefited from this, and that knowledge is what I'm going to share with you. Okay, so now he says, by becoming fixed in this knowledge, one can attain to the transcendental nature, which is like my own nature. Thus established, one is not born at the time of creation, nor disturbed at the time of dissolution, which means when the Lord gets on to the job of creation and as well as annihilation, in both these two stages, people who completely attain transcendence will not come back into this realm or get back into this process of creation and annihilation. You get freedom from the cycles of annihilation and creation that constantly takes place. Okay, so he's kind of guaranteeing this to us. This is like a guarantee. This is not a warranty. Warranty is, when you kind of do something, go to the higher, that's a warranty, because after once the warranty gets over, again you fall back. Whereas this is a guarantee that the Lord gives. Once you are able to completely get over this, the ills of the samsara, you will never return back. So in 14.4 he says, Sarva yonishu kaunteya murtayah sambhavantiyah tasham brahma mahat yonir aham bija pradaha pita. Somebody wants to read this translation? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yeah, please read.
It should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So what the Lord here is saying is that, everything that is there, by way of the living entities and the Prakriti, which is where the living entities, which the living entities use to kind of live their lives. He is the creator, or he is the one who has kind of made this possible. Now, in both of this, he also said something to us in the earlier chapters. He said the living entities are his superior energy, and the inferior energy is the Prakriti. Okay, and in the earlier chapter, he also said what are the elements that make up the kshetra or the body? Can somebody tell me what are the elements that make up the kshetra or the body? What are the elements that make up the kshetra or the body? Hare Krishna. Nobody remembers? Okay, let me give you a hint. The 23 elements plus the unmanifested prakriti, that makes it 24 elements. The gross, the subtle, the gross elements are the Panchabhutas. Then the subtle is mind, intellect, and the false ego. And then you have the sense organs. Then you have the objects of these sense organs, and you have the working senses. So all of this put together make the 24 elements that make up the body of all living entities. Is that clear? Hare Krishna. What happened? Today is Sunday. All of you are a little quiet. What happened?
Yes, Mataji, it's clear.
All forgot. Okay.
Yes, Mataji.
So it should be understood that all species of life, all the species of he's talking about 8,40,000 species of life, all of that, he is the seed-giving father, because he creates the prakriti. Unless there is someone who sows, it's like a field. You have a field. Prabhupada gives an example of a field. There is a field. The farmer has to sow the seeds. So unless the seeds are sown, the field will not get greenery, right? So the plants and the trees will not grow unless there are seeds sown into the field. The field itself cannot create something. So the field is created by the Lord, and he also creates the seed, and that is what is responsible for the creation. Okay, so that's what he's saying in this verse. And 14.5, Sattvam Rajastama iti gunaha prakriti sambhavaha nibadnyananti mahabaho dehe dehinam avyayam. Can someone read this translation? Hare Krishna, 14.5. Nobody wants to read? Okay, material nature consists of the three modes. What are the three modes? The mode of goodness, the mode of passion, and the mode of ignorance. When the living entity comes in contact with nature, he becomes conditioned by these modes. They use the gross body, the subtle body, and they allow themselves to completely regale and enjoy these three modes. And it all depends on what happens is, we kind of make use of these gunas that are there in the prakriti, depending on the kind of body we receive. The kind of body we receive kind of determines what kind of guna or what kind of qualities that we are likely to exhibit. For example, if someone gets the body of an elephant, his qualities, his behavior will definitely be that of what the elephant should be. Similarly, if one gets the body of a pig, his manners, his behavior, and as well as his interactions with everything and nature will be that of what a pig should be. And if one gets the body of a human being, he also acts in a way the human being acts. But however, remember, the human being also carries a lot of vasanas from the past lives. In the past life, if anyone has had any of the bodies of any of those species of life that we just spoke about, all those vasanas are likely to come. So therefore, this awareness that the Lord is giving us in this chapter is all about those vasanas, is all about, how the vasanas can either be reduced or either can be improved upon or completely exhausted by way of adapting or adopting certain qualities or certain way of life that will completely eradicate those vasanas away from us, and also help us to kind of imbibe or adopt better habits that will help us to kind of ensure that we are carrying less karma. Okay, did you get that? So the material nature has the gunas, and we as the living entities, need to will behave based on the body type we have. But however, the human body type that we have is one body where, we also have the superior subtle element called the intellect, and because of which the possibilities of, managing ourselves from entangling with these gunas can happen. Okay. So 14.6, he says, Tatra Sattvam Nirmalatvat Prakashakam Annamayam Sukha Sangena Badnati Jnana Sangena Chanagaha. O sinless one, the mode of good, he is explaining what is the mode of goodness. The definition of mode of goodness is coming in this verse. He says, O sinless one, the mode of goodness being purer than the others. Of the three, the mode of goodness is higher than, the Rajaguna and the Tamaguna. And what is mode of goodness is all about? It is illuminating. It frees one from sinful reactions. Those situated in the deep, in the mode of, in that mode, develop knowledge, but they become conditioned by the concept of happiness. Because what does knowledge give you? Knowledge gives you power. Knowledge gives you, more empowerment. Knowledge also is likely to bring in more pride. When I'm good in a particular subject, when I'm good in a particular field, that ahankaram or the ego comes in. So therefore, even in the mode of goodness, the possibilities of entanglement, the possibilities of getting bonded to the material desires of pride exist. So there is a little clip here. Let's see if this clip plays. You can tell me what you understood.
Let us go for a stroll in the countryside. Look. I brought us a healthy picnic lunch. The air is clean here, so peaceful. Here we can get away from the agitating elements of the city.
Yeah. So what did you see in this clip? What is he saying? What is he telling? There are two people, and what was the conversation that happened, or rather, what was the dialogue that you heard? Hare Krishna. What was the dialogue that just took place? Hare Krishna, come on.
Voice was not clear.
Wasn't clear. Okay, shall I play it again?
Yes, Mataji, please.
Yeah. Sorry.
Let us go for a stroll in the countryside. Look. I brought us a healthy picnic lunch. The air is clean here, so peaceful. Here we can get away from the agitating elements of the city.
Yeah. So what is this person saying? They're saying, come, let's go for a stroll. And then he says, look, I have brought some picnic lunch. And here we can get away from all the things, of the city life. So here there is that little attachment to things around you. So this, though, they're very nice, there is a lot of concern. There is a lot of, the person is exhibiting a lot of care and all that stuff. But still there is that little bit of an attachment to the nature. He says, look, this is so beautiful. The air is so nice here. It is so nice. There is still that feeling for things that still exist. So this is what mode of goodness is all about. Okay. So 14.7, he talks about the Rajaguna. What is the quality of a Rajaguna? Rajo ragamatmakam vidhi trishna sanga samudbhavam tan nibhadnyati kaunteya karma sangena dehina. The mode of passion is born of unlimited desires. There's no end to the desire. I have a 2 BHK. I want a 3 BHK. I have a Mercedes today. I want something better than that tomorrow. There's no end to it. Today this summer holidays, I went to Europe. So next I want to go to Australia. There's no end to it. You keep asking, you keep wanting more and more. Okay, today I've got this dress, tomorrow I want another dress. So there's no end to it. Okay, so the unlimited desire, there's no end to it at all. Even before they have planned this trip, they are also planning the next trip. Okay, O son of Kunti, and because of this, one is bound to material fruitive activity. They're constantly, they have a big engagement plan for probably the next, couple of years. They don't even know if they'll live that couple of years. but they have huge plans. Okay, so this not only is about what they want, it's also about someone who says he has a business of, say today of a few crores. He says, how can I make it multi crores? How can I make it multi-millions? How can I make it multi-billion? It is fine. You can have that kind of a longing, but you also need to see at what cost you're making that money, and how are you also engaging the profits of that money for the society, for the people, and for all those who probably make this happen to you. In that way, if you do it, it is fine. And even more important is you need to always remember Krishna in all of this. When you kind of are completely grateful and also, are sensitive and mindful to every other living entity, which is part and parcel of Krishna's, of Krishna, and you're grateful to Krishna, and you do something back to to things that please Krishna, then it is not Rajasic. Okay. But however, if it is only you in the midst of everything, then it is a high Rajasic guna. Okay. And here again, there's a little clip. Let me know if you're able to follow this.
Working on your hair. Honey, Sunny. I bet you forgot about Susie, didn't you? You're supposed to take her to Vegas this weekend. Lose your money, Vegas. You'll be rich. You'll reach the top. Just one hitch. You just got stuck. Just keep getting.
So did you get that? Were you able to follow that clip? No?
What are you doing, man? Out here working on your hair? Honey, Sunny. I bet you forgot about Susie, didn't you? You're supposed to take her to Vegas this weekend. Lose your money, Vegas. You'll be rich. Just one hitch. Stop.
Did anybody follow this? At least did you hear some familiar words? What is he talking? He's talking about money. Okay. So there's no end to it. These are the material elements that people long for. Now, tamastva ajnanajam viddhi mohanam sarvadehinam pramadalasya nibradis tan nibadnyati bharata. O son of Bharata, the mode of ignorance is defining mode of ignorance, causes the delusion of all living entities. The result of this mode is madness, indolence means laziness, and sleep, which bind the conditioned soul. These are people who are on the path of vikarma. They're not bothered, absolutely inactive. They are lazy. They think this whole life is only to kind of, to enjoy and gratify all their sense organs or bodily needs. They're not really concerned. They think that, anyway, this life is just one. So just let's enjoy to the core. And enjoyment, they don't bother about if that enjoyment really is going to help them in terms of leading a healthy life and keeping themselves healthy and also keeping everyone else happy. They're not bothered. For them, all that it means is just to kind of, enjoy the bodily pleasures. Okay. And which means they get abusive on themselves. They also get abusive on others. They are into intoxicants and all kinds of nonsense that one can think of. They're valueless people. Okay.
That's a blackbird. I think you just need to chill with me. I got 6 packs in the fridge, play some video games, watch some TV, shut the curtain and just shut out the world. Sounds good, huh?
So you saw that? So here, the person, although there are other things, the Rajaguna and the Sattvaguna around, he chooses what is something that is going to completely take him down the drain. And he's talking about watch TVs and, play video games and just enjoy, just don't bother, shut the world off. And, so it's only about themselves, and as well as completely doing things which is not going to take them, not going to do them any good, nor take them anywhere. Okay. 14.9. He talks about 14.9 is Sattvam Sukhe Sanjayati Rajah Karmani Bharata Jnanam Avrityatu Tamah Pramade Sanjayati Uta. Somebody can read this. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yes, Khushbuji.
The mode of goodness conditions one to happiness, passion conditions him to the fruits of action, and ignorance to madness.
Yeah. So here he kind of, very. I want you to read the next one also. Just to be available. So here he says the mode of goodness leads to happiness. When you're in the mode of goodness, when your thing is all about higher taste, and when you're in that realm, it gives you happiness. It does not give you any form of distress. Whereas passion conditions you to the fruits of action. You are always under distress. You're always anxious. Okay, today I have this. What will I have to do? Okay, the person is always active. He always wants to get that fame and name for himself or herself. And the ignorance completely drives you to the gutter. You become absolutely a resident of the gutter. Even if you live in a palace, but if you're bound by mode of ignorance, you absolutely lead a life as a worm in the gutter. Okay. Yes, Mataji, read this also. 14.10.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Sometimes the mode of passion becomes prominent, defeating the mode of goodness, or son of Bharata, and sometimes the mode of goodness defeats passion, and at other times the mode of ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always competition for supremacy.
Exactly. So all these modes are not permanent. It's not that once I'm in the mode of goodness, I will always be in the mode of goodness. It's not that I will be in the Rajasic mode and I'll always be in Rajasic. A person in the mode of goodness can fall to, the Rajaguna, and also if not checked, he can also fall to the Tamaguna. Similarly, a person in the Rajaguna has the chances to move up to the to the Sattvaguna, and also has an equal chance of falling to the Tamaguna. Okay, but a person of the Tamaguna, it's with great effort that he can rise up to the Rajaguna or even the Sattvaguna. So therefore, what it means is, it's not as though people in the Sattvaguna and the Rajaguna can always be in that realm. They need to be conscious of the fact that they should not allow themselves to kind of, waver or, kind of be a little unstable in their qualities, and also avoid things which actually will make them will make them fall low. Okay, and especially the Rajaguna person has the opportunity to rise up, and therefore anyone who's Rajasic in their nature should try and be, see how they can rise up and not fall down. Similarly, the Sattvaguna person cannot always, ride high and say, oh, they will always be there. So what it predominantly means is each of us have to keep a check. We need to keep a record of how we are doing, and what is really, helping us to give us that happiness. Is that happiness by way of something that is going to energize and take us forward, or is that happiness something that is going to give us distress and pain? Okay. So this is the mind. So therefore, as as the Lord has already said in the first section of Bhagavad Gita, that the mind is something that needs to be kept in check. The mind is the one which gets constantly pulled, and therefore that is the reason which kind of makes us move from one guna to the other. And therefore, if we have to really keep ourselves steady into kind of improving ourselves, we need to keep the mind in control and in check. So I will go back to the qualities that I said in the previous chapter. We'll go back to that a little later, but for now we'll continue with this chapter. So the manifestations of the mode of goodness can be experienced when all the gates of the body are illumined by knowledge. So what happens when you are in the mode of goodness? You feel happy overall. The happiness is inner out. The happiness is internal. It's not outside in. It is inner. The inner happiness of yours, shows in every activity. Anything that you do, is excellent. Anything that you do is well thought through. Anything that you do also helps others also to kind of, engage in those kind of activities. They will look forward to kind of, following your kind of habits and your kind of manners, and you will probably be that go-to kind of a person where everyone feels comfortable. Okay, so that is what is the how does goodness show? That's what this verse is saying. How does goodness show in someone who has the mode of goodness? It shows by way of their joyful behavior, their happiness, and as well as their simplicity in everything that they do. Because these people they know, what it means to remain in a state which gives them that happiness. They know once they lose that edge, it is likely to cause distress. Okay. Now 14.12, O chief of the Bharatas, when there is an increase in the mode of passion, the symptoms of great attachment, uncontrollable desire, hankering, and intense endeavor develop. Because you want more and more, you're never satisfied. I have 10 rupees, I want 100 rupees, 100 rupees, 1000 rupees, and it goes on, you go on adding zero. Okay, you are not looking at what do you really need it, and if you get it, what are you going to do with it? Is it all for yourself, or is it something that you're going to do for others? No, it is only about yourself, your family, your society, your country, and that's about it. You're not really looking beyond something that is beyond yourself, your family, your own circle of things. You need to uplift yourself. What is it that I can do, that something that can really help a whole lot of people across the continents and across the world? Okay, so that is what is very important. That is difficult. But however, even a rajasic person, if he kind of continues with that desire to kind of do the best for himself and his family, but however he's mindful of his responsibilities to the society and as well as to Krishna, then I think there is a possibility for him to lower those desires for his personal needs and get himself off that plane of only looking for personal satisfaction. So in general, the person who are in the rajasic mode are always in the thing. For example, when I'm in politics, I don't want to give up my seat, come what may. Whether I'm doing good or not, I want that seat for myself. I can't give it up. I will stand for elections, come what may. If I don't get a ticket from a party, I will go and stand as an independent, because I don't want to give it up, right? Because they have that uncontrollable desire to have power, okay? And therefore, what happens? It goes on increasing. It never decreases. So once you are in a certain field, you are in that field forever, because you kind of want to make the best use of that. It is okay, make the best use of it, but don't do in such a way that it completely consumes you. It should be the other way. You should be able to do, you should be able to make use of that position that you have. It shouldn't be that the position makes use of you. Okay. 14.13, O son of Kuru, when there's an increase in the mode of ignorance, madness and illusion, inertia and darkness are manifested. It's complete, it's wrecking of life. There's nothing that is there to look forward to. They're completely a wreck, absolute wreck for themselves. They're a wreck for the family that they live in. They're a wreck for the society, because, it is very, very difficult to maintain such people. When they fall sick, when they kind of, become uncontrollable, the family has to manage it, the state machinery has to come in. So it is basically something that is a point of no return. In fact, Prabhupada calls such a state a hopeless state. Unless something magic happens, they uncover themselves, it is a very different thing. But however, unless they make up their mind, it's going to be very, very difficult. And the chances of them making up their mind also becomes quite narrow. Of course, there are many stories of how some people have come above this. There are possibilities, but that's only 1 in a million. Okay. So 14.14. So now from 14.14 to 14.18, he's going to talk about the benefits of, or rather, what is the destination for these people in the different gunas. When the one dies in the mode of goodness, he attains a pure higher planets. So when you see why he's saying pure higher planets are not the Goloka, you are in the mode of goodness. The Lord here is saying, when you kind of die, when you exhaust your life on earth, you will go to the higher planets. Why is he saying higher planets are not to Goloka? Hare Krishna. Why is the Lord in this verse saying that the destination of a person in the mode of goodness is the higher planets and not the Goloka Vrindavan? Anybody? Why is it? What happened today? You are very silent. In slide 14.2, what is the slide depicting? Yeah, I'll tell you, Praveen Mataji. 1 minute. Praveena Mataji is asking me something. These are the 3 gunas, Mataji. The gunas are constantly vying for our attention. They're constantly, trying to pull us away into their realm because, they're these are like distractions. Yeah, I'm sitting here to study. There is a WhatsApp call which says, hey, can we go for a movie today? And then there's another, another friend, calling up, on the landline saying that, you know what, there is a nice, a shopping, mela that has come up. Can we go shopping? Then there is a TV. There's a nice program that the entire family is watching. So there are multiple things trying to grab your attention. So the mind is constantly, poor mind is constantly in trouble, trying to decide what should I do. And what is the quality of the mind? The mind only talks about likes and dislikes. Its job is only to kind of do a post office job. Whatever comes, it kind of segregates it. Okay, so that's why that's why the intellect has to be very strong, because the intellect is the one which kind of makes a decision as to, no, Janaki, this is not good for you. You should not either look for the shopping because, unnecessary, you don't have enough money. So don't look at shopping. You will go on credit. And then don't look at the TV programs because you have an exam coming up next week. And then ignore the message your friend is talking about movie, because movie means you will spend 2 hours and come back and you'll feel tired and no study happens. So that kind of an ability to kind of make an analysis and logical reasoning is the function of the intellect. So that's where the intellect has to be. You always have to think from the intellect. Take time. They always say, think over it. What does a think over mean? Think over means, how do you kind of logically segregate the various aspects of a certain problem that is before you? Okay. 1 minute. Let me just put it up again. Okay. So what did the Lord say in 14.14? What does he mean by higher planets? Or why not Goloka Vrindavan? See, Goloka Vrindavan is where all of us want to go. It is a place of bliss. It's a place of absolute bliss. And you needn't have to know what is happening in the material world at all. You're only concerned about the spiritual world and the spiritual activities, right? So why is he not talking about Goloka Vrindavan? Why is he saying higher planets? Remember, the higher planets also go through the process of creation and annihilation. So why is he saying higher planets and not Goloka Vrindavan?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Ishan Prabhuji.
Person who are in mode of goodness is not in spirituality. So that.
Very good. Very good. So the spirituality component is less, and they still have a kind of a hankering for pride. They still have a hankering for the ahankara is still there. The moment ahankara comes, your humility, your pridelessness, and everything, simplicity, everything goes for a toss. Yeah. So they still have some kind of a bondage, so which means they will again have to take birth to kind of completely extinguish all those kind of vasanas in them. Okay. 14.15, when one dies in the mode of passion, he takes birth among those engaged in fruitive activities. That means you'll again be engaged depending on the rajasic guna that you have. Suppose somebody has the rajasic guna of eating a lot, they want to taste that food, this food. Prabhupada says he'll get a body of a pig so that he can go on eating whatever he wants until to his heart's content. And someone is always constantly money, they'll again get a human birth where they have to again, they'll be running behind money. And what kind of work they will do to get that money is a different thing. It all again depends upon multiple other factors that will go along with that, right? So he says, such a person will get, when one dies in the mode of ignorance, he takes the birth of an animal. It is just what does the animal do? The animal is only, constantly looking around for shelter, to sleep, to eat. And then it's always constantly in fear if there is somebody else powerful than that who will come and attack it or trap it or, capture it or whatever. So there's always a fear in it. And last but not the least, what it is, just keeps procreating, keep giving birth, keeping nothing. It just becomes a very mechanical kind of a life. So that's what the Lord is saying here. Okay. So all this the Lord is saying, this is all in the Bhagavad Gita. Nothing is what I am telling you. It's all there in the Bhagavad Gita. Karmanaha Srukatas yahu. Satvikam nirmalam phalam, rajastu phalam dukkam, ajnanam tamasah phalam. By acting in the mode of goodness, one becomes purified. When you act, definitely there's some purification that happens in the mode of goodness. It's better than the Rajaguna and better than the mode of ignorance. But work done in the mode of passion results in distress because you want more and more. There's no end to a desire. And actions performed the mode of result results in foolishness because you absolutely do not know the purpose of life. This is for what the Lord is telling us is for the people who have a human body or the body where the subtle elements exist along with the gross elements. Okay. 14 point, from the mode of goodness, real knowledge develops. So the mode of goodness definitely helps you to gain more knowledge. And from the mode of passion, grief develops because, if you know the cycle of desire, if the desire is fulfilled, you're happy. If the desire is not fulfilled, you get angry. And then anger and, pride, both of them lead to some kind of grief because the pride, if gets hurt, again, it lends itself in the form of, more anger. And more anger is grief because it kind of, impacts your entire body and health and thought process. And from the mode of ignorance, foolishness and madness and illusion develop because you're constantly, living in a, utopia. You're not living in real world. You're not in the present at all. You're living in a world which has no meaning. Where there's no meaning for yourself or for the people around you or for anybody. You're a waste body, right? Okay. 14.1 Urdhavam gachanti sattvasta madhye tishtanti rajasah jaganya gunavrittasta ado gachanti tamasah. Those situated in the mode of goodness gradually go upward to the higher planets. Those in the mode of passion live on the earthly planets, and those in the mode of ignorance go to the hellish worlds. What it means is, if you are someone who kind of encourages, inculcates good habits, obviously you're going to feel uplifted. If you're not going to inculcate any of those habits, you're going to be pulled down to the worst form of living. So it's like a flight. You either want to go up. Going up is what you need to look for, and not diving down. Diving down into what? Diving down to the ocean, where coming out is going to be difficult. Okay. Now, this is the universe. This is the upper planets. We are in the Burloka, which is the earth planet. So people who are in the Rajasic Guna will invariably come back, will get born in the earth planet. And people in the Rajasic mode can go up to the higher planets. And people who are in the, the mode of foolishness, they will come down to the lower planets. But however, anywhere in any of these lokas, we will have to come back into the cycle of birth and death again when the universe gets recreated by the Lord. Okay, the only place where we will not come back is a Gaurapadvrita. That's why the Shuddha Sattva Guna is what we should all aim for. So when you see there is nothing beyond these modes of nature in all activities, and the Supreme Lord is transcendental to all these modes, then you can know my spiritual. Lord is asking us to rise above these gunas. Okay, he's saying, okay, the Sattva Guna is not bad, but rise above all the three. He wants us to rise above the three. That's his expectation. That's his desire. Lord also has a desire. Lord wants us to go back to him. So 14.2, when the embodied being is able to transcend these three modes, he can become free from birth, death, old age, and distress, and therefore enjoy nectar even in this life. Did anybody attend this lecture that we had in the morning by a Prabhuji from ISKCON Mumbai? Did anyone attend? Anybody attended today? He gave an acronym of BOD. He said BOD, I think. He says birth, old age, disease, and death. That is the thing, that is the misery of this world. And that is why this world is called Dukhalayam. Okay. Okay, so what does bhakti give you? You saw that picture, and this is what you will see in all these people who kind of, give up their desires for material things and look for, all the kind of happiness that they can derive from looking up to Krishna and serving Krishna, and and doing things for the sake of Krishna, and whatever outcomes come out of their fruitive activities, they think it is a mercy of Krishna. It gives you a lot of bliss. They're so happy. Such a minimalistic kind of a lifestyle. But remember, minimalistic lifestyle can also be had in the Grihastha life. It's not necessary that one needs to become a monk, one needs to become a sannyasi. In those old golden days, they kind of had a system of Varnasrama Dharma. What is it? Initially, it's brahmacharya, where you kind of attend your school and college and studies, and then get on to grihastha, and then then take up vanaprastha, and then sannyasa. What they meant was, what does taking up vanaprastha mean? Giving up all those material activities that you were kind of completely engaged in, that kind of, which kind of had a lot of expectations of you from yourself and also of others. So you move away into vanaprastha so that those expectations are not there. You kind of lead minimalistic life. So that kind of minimalistic life we can cultivate, or we can habituate ourselves even in our normal lives. We don't have to go for manaprastha and sannyasa at all. We can still be a good sannyasa. We can still be, in the mode of vanaprastha, in the grihastha ashram itself, doing well whatever whether you're doing a software engineer, to be a good software engineer, be a good employee, get on to becoming a good manager, become a good leader, or if you're going to start your own company, become a good employer. You can do everything. But think of always how you can lead your life in a simple way. It should be simple living, but high thinking. That's what Prabhupada always says. Lead a simple life, but your thoughts should be high. And when your thoughts are high, your thoughts can only be high when you're always thinking of Krishna. Arjuna inquired, "Oh, my dear Lord," he asks 3 questions here. By what symptoms is one known who is transcendental to the... What are the symptoms of one who has crossed over these 3 modes? What is his behavior? And how does he transcend the modes of nature? What is their behavior? And how does one actually, cross over these kind of 3 modes which are constantly disturbing us all the time? Can somebody read this? 13.2 to 13.25. There are 2 answers in this. I will tell you where to stop for the first answer, and I will tell you where to read again. Can somebody read this? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
The blessed Lord said, "He who does not have illumination, attachment, and delusion when they are present, nor longs for them when they disappear, who is seated like one unconcerned, being situated beyond this material reaction of the modes of nature, who remain firm, knowing that the modes alone are active, who regards alike pleasure and pain, and looks on a cloth, a stone, and a piece
1 minute,
of gold."
Mataji. 1 minute, Mataji. 1 minute. So the first part, Mataji, just wait. So the first part that you just read, who does not hate illumination, attachment, delusion. So these are the symptoms of someone who has transcended the modes of material nature. Okay, and they are fine with whatever things happen in the present, or they're not really bothered about, they don't really long for them, or they're not worried about the future, but they kind of do all the work that they need to do. Such a person is firm, and such a person is very active in doing whatever he does. So such a person is the one who carries who has actually carries the symptoms as one who has transcended these modes. Okay, Mataji, now read one from the who regards like pleasure and pain, from that way, from that sentence.
Who regards alike pleasure and pain, and look on a cloth, a stone, and a piece of gold with an equal eye, who is wise and holds praise and blame to be the same, who is unchanged in honor and dishonor, who treats friend and foe alike, who has abandoned all fruitive undertakings. Such a man is said to have transcended the modes of nature.
Right. So the first part that the Mataji read was all about how people remain unaffected by anything that happens around them. That is the behavior of one who has completely. It doesn't mean that if something wrong has happened, they don't take an action. They do take an action, but they take it in a they take it in their stride, and they look upon it as their duty to do what they have to do. But they don't kind of do something because they want something in return for it. Such a person, that is a behavior of someone who is not in any of these modes of nature. Now, one is equal to all. That is, that is the one which shows the behavior of such people. They're equal to all. They are okay, whether it is clay, clod means clay, or stone, or gold. They don't get excited with gold, and neither do they get disappointed when there is a stone. Okay, so such is the person, who his behavior is one where he's not really bothered about who he's interacting with. He looks upon everyone as an Atma. Okay. Now the next verse he's going to talk about how to transcend. What will help you to kind of cross over these three modes of nature? Mamcha yo avyabicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatyaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. It says, one who engages in full devotional service, one who does not fall down in any circumstance, at once transcends the modes of nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. Okay, it is all about bhakti. So don't underestimate bhakti. Bhakti will actually help you to, even if there are certain qualities which are not up to the mark, you will definitely, by embarking on bhakti, bhakti does not mean you have to allocate a large chunk of your day for that. But all that bhakti means, or whenever you're engaging in any task, do it for Krishna. When you're doing it for Krishna, it will always make Krishna will always make sure that you're not doing anything which is wrong, because bhakti gives you strength to kind of look beyond the ordinary. Bhakti has the power. Very often I have seen people, when you are active on Facebook or any of these social media sites, when somebody is sick, they say, please pray for us, please pray for us, please pray for us. Why are they looking up to prayers at that point in time? Because prayer is the only thing that can bring about that magic. Prayer is the only thing that can reverse situations. When prayer can reverse situations in a grave state, prayer can do wonders even in our day-to-day ordinary life. Remember that. Okay. 14.27. Why does the Lord say that? Why does the Lord say devotion is the best thing for you to transcend? Because the Lord is the basis of the impersonal Brahman. All that is pervasive around us. The Lord is omnipresent, omniscient, and omnipresent, and omnipotent. Lord is powerful. He's present everywhere. He is the basis of everything, which is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness, and which is immortal. The Lord ultimately is immortal, imperishable, and eternal, whereas we are mortals, we are perishable, and our soul is eternal. So therefore, we need to kind of transcend transcend this mortality, and also try and see how we can just get on to becoming part and parcel of the Supreme Brahman, who is actually everywhere. And therefore, our goal should be to live a life in such a way that we can attain that Supreme Brahman, who is longing and waiting for us to join him or her. Okay. So this is what this chapter is all about. So I'm going to, so for those of you who want to continue with the next classes, on the 18th day, or maybe starting tomorrow, they will start publishing the registration for the next level. So the next level is basically a detailed study of the Bhagavad Gita, where you will go verse by verse. And you'll also really, enjoy by way of understanding the meaning of, of those verses, and also Srila Prabhupada's purport in trying to explain to us how to kind of, engage the knowledge in the Bhagavad Gita in our day-to-day life. So those of you who want it, please register. And those classes will be typically once in a week. And there are several timings that are available to you, and you can pick and choose the timing that is most suitable. It will not be on an everyday basis, but it will be on I think 1 day in a week or 2 days. Some people do it on two days a week, and some people do it once a week. So it depends on the group and what the group requirements are. But it is something more workable then continuously attending, like, like what you're doing right now. Right now, you're only, we just breeze through. It is just an overview, but that will give you a greater hang of what the Bhagavad Gita is all about. And it will also kind of, give you that taste to kind of, continue with your passion to read the Bhagavad Gita and have the Bhagavad Gita always with you as your guide and mentor to support you in your life. Okay. So please see if you can do it, because that's what I think, will really help you. And all of you are actually blessed, I would say, in a way. If you are not to be blessed, I don't think you would have even attempted to come here. Look at the number of people we had on the first day we started, and look at the number that we have today. This goes a long way to show that you all are chosen ones and you all are very special. So don't give up that edge that you have with you right now. Okay. See, spirituality is not for everybody. Spirituality is for someone who has the faith and taste. For example, good food. Sattvic food is not for everyone. You need to have a taste for it. You need to acquire that taste. So I think all of you have that ability to acquire the greater potential of spirituality and live a life well, because you have a long life ahead. So please live your life well. And, I would love to see all of you becoming great men and women in your chosen fields, doing extraordinarily well in your chosen fields, and also, make your families proud, make your, have, if you enter the Grihastha Ashrama, enjoy a good life with your spouse, have children, and enjoy, and make sure that you make your family a devotee of the Lord, and, you're really contributing to your own well-being, as well as to the contribution, as well as contribute to the well-being of the society, because we need a lot of good spirited souls in society today, because the society is really, really going down the slope, and we need to make sure that we can help people and also we help ourselves. Okay. Now I'm going to take you all to the 13th chapter and take you to verse 8 from text, I think 8 to 11, right? Because some of you missed this. So these are the qualities. Yeah. So can somebody, Anuruddh Prabhu, can you read this? Are you there? Who's there? Anuruddh Prabhu's there? He's left. He's left today also. He left. Okay. Anyway, we will just read these qualities now. So what is it that will help us to gain knowledge and also live our life in a way that we will not be bound by or bound to the activities we do, and also steer clear of the negative modes that will disturb our mind and disturb our balance. What are the qualities? Humility, pridelessness. Pridelessness is to have that sense of non-doership, that ahankara. Humility, prideless, non-violence. Don't unnecessarily go harm anybody, even if it is a small insect or a germ. Try and prevent those things from coming home, but don't try and attack them. Tolerance, be tolerant in all kinds of situations. Simplicity, live a simple life. Simple life is what is, you can lead that life always. Something that, that keeps you going, whether you have money or you don't have money. Today we have money, but most of our money is in the form of, digital money, which is there in the bank. What if the country becomes like a Sri Lanka? I mean, any country can go the Sri Lanka way, right? Now, most of the European countries are also, crying loud for because of inflation and a lot of unemployment. I mean, everything is everywhere. The difference is only by a few decimals here and there. Otherwise, all of us in the same state. Suddenly, all the banks go bankrupt. Whatever money we had makes no sense at all. So therefore, lead a simple life. Whether you have the money with you or you don't have the money with you, you will not really get affected. You will not let your mental equilibrium getting destabilized. And then approach a bona fide spiritual master when in doubt. That's why making such associations with such groups, spiritual groups, which kind of, have one goal, and that goal is Krishna consciousness. That goal is spirituality. That goal is to make sure that we are not falling down into the deep caverns of this material world. Cleanliness. Cleanliness is not only external, but also internal. The austerities that you follow, the discipline that you follow, is very important. When you're clean inside, you automatically will keep yourself clean outside as well. Many people try to show that they are clean outside, but showing clean outside does not mean you're clean inside. Okay, and if you're clean inside, automatically you will be clean. No effort is required for you to put up that cleanliness, external cleanliness as well. Automatically, you will, there are some people, it's not that they are wearing, very, what do you call it, couture dress or anything, but then you automatically have a kind of a respect for them. Why? Because of the internal purity that they have, steadiness. Don't give up what you have started. You have started on a good street. You have started something good for yourself. Don't give up. Steadiness is very important, because someone who's steady is the winner. You know the story of the hare and the tortoise, right? You have heard the story of the rabbit and the tortoise. So rabbit and the tortoise? Yeah, rabbit and the tortoise, right?
Yes, Mataji.
Right? So one has to be steady. Whatever speed we have, whatever be our capacity, be steady in that. Don't make comparisons with others, because each of us is different. We are different and we are unique. We need to be proud about who we are. Don't compare yourselves. Learn from others, but don't compare. Self-control is very much needed. If you don't have self-control, you will lose the journey that you have set for yourself. Inculcate good habits. Maintain good habits. Ensure those habits are not going away because, for society's sake, or just to kind of, to please some of your friends. Don't do anything which is going to harm you. It may seem okay in the beginning, but once, God forbid, if you start liking it, it will take you to the wrong path. Renunciation of the objects of sense gratification. Suppose, say, I'm just giving you a simple example. Maybe, once in a while, people say, oh, let's go for a beer party. Maybe the first day, okay, some of us may not like it. I've never liked it. The taste of beer has never been something that I ever liked. But God forbid if you like it. Maybe in the beginning you'll feel, oh, it's just one mug of beer. Think about it. Today it's 1 mug of beer. Every weekend the mugs will increase, and afterwards your taste will also go up for a higher thing. It will be nice in the beginning, but actually it will turn out painful later. So keep away from such things that will actually kind of, draw you to the lower stage. You want to fly high. You want to be the plane that always is flying high. You don't want your plane to kind of nosedive into the deep ocean. Absence of, never let ahankaram get into you. Whatever, it will come automatically, because we are all sadhakas. We are all at the beginning. That automatically the pride will come. Oh, what? I know this. I have got 100 on 100. Who is he to tell me he's got only 50 on 100 and he's trying to teach me? Never get that into your head. Okay, never get that backbench, front bench in your head at all. The perception of the evil of birth, death, old age, and disease. You need to be constantly aware that we are mortal, and we have all made a beginning, and there will be an end to us. That we need to always know. There is always an end to everything that we have today. And then detachment. Detachment means detachment from unnecessary things that will kind of increase your ahankar. Detachment does not mean, yesterday one Mataji or Prabhuji was asking me, how can we detach from our families? No, you have to be attached to your families. Detachment here means don't have any expectations. If you've done something for your brother, if you have helped your brother, don't say, hey, you have no gratitude towards me. The moment that comes, that means it's an attachment. You did something with an expectation. Detachment means no expectation. That's what detachment means. Please be nice to your family, help your parents, help your siblings, do everything. But don't unnecessarily have expectations. Oh, I did such and such thing, and this person, when today I'm in trouble, nobody's helping me. That expectation, don't have it, because that will again lead to distress. Okay. Freedom from entanglement with children, wife, home, and the rest. Freedom means what? Here again, freedom from the thing of expectation. It's not freedom means, okay, I have my wife and children, I leave them alone and I go and live in another house. No, that's not what it means. Freedom here means don't have any expectations from them. Do whatever you have to do with them with lots of love and affection. Even-mindedness. Even-mindedness means don't unnecessarily go high when things are good, and don't be a stock market. Don't go high and low. Be balanced. Okay, one day will be good. If today is good, tomorrow will be bad, but there will be a good day again. It's not that bad days will continue. And it's not that, good days will continue always. And then, so even-mindedness among pleasant and unpleasant events. Constant unalloyed devotion to me. Faith, bhakti, shraddha. That is very important. Okay. Aspiring to live in a solitary place means keep the noise away, unnecessary noise away. Anything which is kind of going to confuse you, remove all that. Solitary place also means keep away people and keep away things that is going to kind of contaminate your mind. Detachment from the general mass of people. Detachment from the general mass of people means what? The general things that people run after. Keep away from all those things which everyone is running after. You can have your own quality. You can have your own kind of taste. You don't have to do just because everybody else is doing it. Okay. Do it if it has to be done because there's a certain purpose behind it. For example, I have to get a driving license to drive my car. That is a must. Everybody has to do it. I have to do it. But don't do something because somebody else is. Everyone else, went bungee jumping and therefore I will also go do bungee jumping. That you don't have to do. Okay. If you must do a bungee jumping, that's a different thing. But don't do because each body is different. So everybody may not be, comfortable with those kind of activities. So you don't have to do just because somebody else says I have to do it. No. Everybody is, diving into the deep end of the pool. If you're not yet, got the, expertise in swimming, you should never go to the deep end at all. So if you have got the expertise and if you can go to the deep end and if you can take a dive, then you take a dive. Don't take a dive just because everybody else is doing, because everybody started learning with you and they can do it. Why can't I? No. Make sure you whether you're capable of doing it now or later. If it has to be done later, practice a little more and then go take the dive. Accepting the importance of self-realization. What does self-realization mean? Self-realization means self-introspection, self-inquiry. Constantly you have to keep looking at what is it that I have done well today? What is it that I could have done better? What is it that I did not do well? Don't get worried about things that you did not do well. Try and be aware of it so that you improve upon it. Please understand, this life gives us a lot of opportunities and we must make use of those opportunities. Even to the last second, last breath of ours, we have opportunities. So don't ever think I give up. I can't do beyond this. Never, ever give up. Give up should never be in our dictionary at all. Give up is for nobody actually speaking. Some people say give up is for the weak. No, nobody, even a person with a Tamakuna should try and see, how can I, improve my life? After reading, if the Tamakuna person, by God's grace, comes to such courses, I'm sure he or she will also improve. Give up should never be there in your dictionary. Always do better, and be the best. And then what is it? Detachment must be accepting the important and philosophical search for at the end of the day, your thing should be, what is it that will give me that perfect peace? What is it that will give me that perfect happiness? Yeah. So the Lord says, these are 20 qualities. Okay. I told you all yesterday, you can copy it and, very easy to copy. Yes, do this. Okay. Control C, copy it onto your Word document or put it up on your PPT. Take a printout and put it up in your workstation, whether it's your study table or your workstation in your office. Please put it up and keep looking at it. And probably, if you're actually, when you're doing a self-inquiry, a self-assessment, you can probably have this. Hey, how did I do on this quality today? There was a situation probably which showed me as having a little bit of a pride. Why did I do what I did? Is it possible for me to kind of be a little aware? See, that awareness is what is going to help us to kind of overcome it. The more and more you're aware of something, that awareness automatically helps you to overcome that. It automatically, for example, what makes you, today maybe I don't know cooking, but I start cooking. And as I keep doing it, don't I get perfect? So similarly, when I keep thinking about, I need to be better, I need to kind of improve. When you keep thinking, automatically you'll become better. Okay, so now I end. I'm sorry, I really took a little longer time because I wanted to explain those 20 qualities. They form the backbone of our lives. They form the backbone of our self-assessment. Okay, Hare Krishna, any questions? Anybody, any questions? What happened? Ishan Prabhu, Kushbu Mataji, Pravina Mataji, Rajpriya Mataji, Shriya Mataji. No question?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Ah,
No questions for
no
today.
question. No question. Okay. I told you what no question means. Two things. Either you understood, or I was okay in explaining what I explained, or I was not okay and therefore nobody understood and nobody is bothered. There's okay, theek hai, kuch bola, theek hai, nahi bolenge, chalo. हाँ, ऐसा तो नहीं था ना?
Absolutely not, Mataji.
ऐसा नहीं था ना? Okay.
No,
ऐसा नहीं था.
Okay, chalo. See you tomorrow. Tomorrow, can you imagine how soon the days have passed? We have crossed 14. Tomorrow is the 15th chapter. It's a chapter called The Absolute Truth. Again, a wonderful gem of a chapter. It's a short chapter. Right, Pravina Mataji? It's a short chapter, right? It's 20 verses, I think. Pravina Mataji? Yeah, Pravina Mataji, where is she? I think it is. Yes, it is 20 verses. We'll try and read all the 20 verses tomorrow, okay? We'll see if we can even get into Veda base and read some of the purports of Prabhupada, okay? So Hare Krishna, everyone. Have a nice evening. And Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhobhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. See you all tomorrow.